us begin. Today is the 22nd day of the first month in the 9th year of Channel Group, March 5, 2021. To begin our day, let's offer our respect and gratitude to our Heavenly Parent and true parents of heaven, earth, and all humankind. 천진 참 부모님께 경배. 바로 let us recite 가정맹세.
가정맹세 1. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 본향 땅을 찾아 본연의 창조 이상인 지상 천국과 천상 천국을 창건할 것을 맹세하나이다. 2. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님을 모시어 천주의 대표적 가정이 되며 중심적 가정이 되어 가정에서는 효자, 국가에서는 충신, 세계에서는 성인, 천주에서는 성자의 가정의 도리를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 3. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 4대 심정권과 3대 왕권과 황족권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 4. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님의 창조 이상인 천주 대가족을 형성하여 자유와 평화와 통일과 행복의 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 5. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 매일 주체적 천상세계와 대상적 지상세계의 통일을 향해 전진적 발전을 촉진화할 것을 맹세하나이다. 6. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님의 대신 가정으로서 천운을 움직이는 가정이 되어 하늘의 축복을 주변에 연결시키는 가정을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 7. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 본연의 혈통과 연결된 위하는 생활을 통하여 심정 문화 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 8. 천일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 천일국 시대를 맞이하여 절대신앙, 절대사랑, 절대복종으로 신인의 일체 이상을 이루어 지상천국과 천상천국의 해방권과 석방권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
For the opening prayer, may I call our brother Richie Paul Mantalaba.
Yes. Let us offer our prayer. Beginning prayer po. 사랑하시는 하늘 부모님, 천지인 참 부모님 감사합니다. 사랑합니다. Good morning to you, our most loving heavenly parents, our victorious true parents of heaven, earth, and all humankind. Truly, we gathered together with all our elders, leaders, blessed central families, brothers and sisters throughout the nation and throughout the world, joining together in this morning devotion to offer to you our utmost sincerity and devotion that we could truly, loving Heavenly Parents, welcome you. And start in our day, loving Heavenly Parents, that could truly give us an inspiration, loving Heavenly Parents, truly that we could able, loving Father in heaven, as we pledge this morning, that we are the honor of Chinalgu. Truly blessed, loving Heavenly Parents, because you give us this opportunity. Because thousands of years, loving Heavenly Parents, we've been waiting, loving Heavenly Parents, for this day to come, that all the people, most especially loving Heavenly Parents, our beloved true parents, to lay the foundation for us, that we could be blessed and stand, loving Heavenly Parents, as representative of this humanity, this 7 billion loving Heavenly Parents, people around the world. We are representing to them, loving Heavenly Parents, that become true honors, who truly give joy and happiness to you. Truly loving Heavenly Parents, we pray, our beloved true mother, truly sacrificed so much, loving Heavenly Parents, until this time. During the foundation day, loving Heavenly Parents, you stand firm, loving Heavenly Parents, together with your parents in the spirit world, pledging, loving Heavenly Parents, that she could offer, even loving Heavenly Parents, a nation of Channel. We pray that all our blessed families could truly support our beloved True Mother's Vision 2027 in this time, loving Heavenly Parents. That we could wake up, loving Heavenly Parents, through this guidance of morning devotion, that we could reach out to all blessed families, especially Filipino blessed families throughout the world, that we could truly stand firm, loving Heavenly Parents, fulfilling the mission of Heavenly Tribal Messiah. Truly, loving Heavenly Parents, this is your utmost dream. Our dream, loving Heavenly Parents, is to really liberate you, to liberate your sorrowful heart, loving Heavenly Parents, to liberate the heart of our beloved true parents, especially our beloved true mother, that we could give joy and happiness to her, loving Heavenly Parents. Everything that we do is in accordance to your will. Thank you so much, loving Heavenly Parents, for giving us an opportunity, blessing us, loving Heavenly Parents. Even though we are not worthy to receive this blessing, but because of your grace and guidance and blessings, and the foundation laid by our beloved true parents and all our saints and sages, we given this opportunity that we could walk together, loving Heavenly Parents. We're very grateful and grateful all the time, loving Heavenly Parents, that all our elders who pioneered for us, loving Heavenly Parents, what we have right now. This is what we are doing now, but we have is to harvest everything that we've been bestowed, but that we've been sowed, loving Heavenly Parents, by our elders, most especially our beloved true parents, foundation. Truly, loving Father in heaven, I pray to all our leaders, most especially our President, Reverend Hori, and all our leaders, loving Heavenly Parents throughout the world, God, to have good health, guidance, and protections, to continue, loving Heavenly Parents, empowering us and strengthening us, loving Heavenly Parents, every day, so that, loving Heavenly Parents, you can be empowered also in the field to witness more people, to really, loving Heaven, testify our beloved, the greatness of our beloved true parents, to proclaim and proud that our true parents, loving Heavenly Parents, is the Lord of sick and dead. We pray, loving Heavenly Parents, that all our brothers and sisters, most especially our elders, loving Heavenly Parents, we pray that all of them could truly connect once again to this mainstream providence, that they could also do their heavenly tribal Messiah, loving God in heaven. The goal of our beloved true Mother is to really, loving Heavenly Parents, become champion victors, that no one will left behind, loving Heavenly Parents. That's why we need to work hand in hand together with all these blessed families, loving Heavenly Parents, brothers and sisters, and make this nation as your nation, loving Heavenly Parents, a Channel nation, and support, loving Heavenly Parents, in the worldwide providence, in the worldwide restoration. Truly, loving Heavenly Parents, we are grateful for this time. I pray and this conduct, loving Heavenly Parents, in this morning devotion, we can able to once again band together with pledging to you and promising once again, loving Heavenly Parents, to really fulfill our portion of responsibility. We're very sorry to you, loving Heavenly Parents, for all our shortcomings, our fallen natures that sometimes you cannot able to overcome, but truly, loving Heavenly Parents, we are truly grateful. Because of this sinful man, loving Heavenly Parents, we are your sinners, you still, loving Heavenly Parents, forgive us and lifting us high, loving Heavenly Parents, to continue, that we could work to you, loving Heavenly Parents, hand in hand, together with our beloved true Mother. Once again, thank you so much for everything you've done for us. We pray this to you, loving Heavenly Parents, that all our blessed families throughout the nation also will have a joyful heart of serving you, loving Heavenly Parents, in this providence, and all our brothers and sisters. Once again, I offer this prayer to you in behalf of the names of our elders, leaders, blessed families, and brothers and sisters, and in our names, Richie Paul and Angelina Mantalaba, Central Blessed Family, Aji.
Drew. Let us offer our individual prayer. Let us offer our greetings to our Heavenly Parent and True Parents. Good morning to all our leaders, elders, brothers, and sisters. Good morning. Welcome to
Good
our morning
morning.
devotion. And to all our brothers and sisters in the center, you may now have your seat. Good morning to everyone. Welcome to our morning devotion. We will begin with our Hundok reading to be read by our sister Gabrielle Bigol.
Good morning, Heavenly Parent and True Parents. Hello. Good morning, Heavenly Parent and True Parents. Good morning, Sir L.A. Good morning po, leaders, elders, brothers, and sisters. Our reading for today comes from the book of Mother of Peace, a memoir by Dr. Hakjahan. Chapter 4, God's Light Shines Upon a Path of Thorns. Through my husband's energy, in 1972, the year after arriving in the United States, we set in motion so many projects. We convened the first meeting of the International Conference on the Unity of the Sciences at New York City's Waldorf Astoria Hotel. We established the American branch of the Professors World Peace Academy and strengthened the already existing Freedom Leadership Foundation, dedicated to the victory over communism. At Belvedere, we taught hundreds of young members to live according to God's Word, and in the fall of 1973, with our mobile teams and local centers fully functioning, we conducted a second national speaking tour, this time of 21 cities. In each city, we hosted a banquet for social leaders and clergy, where numerous mayors presented us with keys to their city. We then held 3 nights of public talks on God, America, and the future of Christianity. At that time, a crisis arose in America. In 1972, Richard Nixon had been elected to a second term as president by an overwhelming majority. But 1 year later, popular sentiment had turned against him. The media and Mr. Nixon's political opponents were demanding that he resign from office over the Watergate affair. His supposed allies had no power to defend him. Even Christian leaders drew back and kept silent. It was my husband who spoke out. Our movement published America in Crisis, Answer to Watergate, Forgive, Love, Unite in 21 leading newspapers. This was not about forgiving President Nixon alone, Father said, but about forgiving, loving, and uniting as a nation for the sake of the world. Mr. Nixon's commitment was to win the Vietnam War and keep communism out of Southeast Asia. In opposition, communist affiliates confused the American public, mounting demonstrations against him on college campuses and even on the National Mall. Seeking to awaken reverence for God and ignite a fire among Americans thirsting for righteousness, our members began demonstrating for God and the dignity of the American presidency. We gained, we gained media attention, and the president himself took notice. Early in 1974, President Nixon sent us an invitation to meet him in the White House. Mr. Nixon was anxious, aware of the likelihood of impeachment. As members covered the White House in prayer, my husband counseled him to stand strong, confess any wrongdoing, and call for national prayer, unity, and renewal. On the heels of our meeting with the president, we went out again, this time to speak in 32 cities, completing our coverage of all 50 states, including Alaska and Hawaii. At first, most Americans were perplexed to hear about a Christian leader from the East. But to know us is to love us, and wherever we went, people were touched and took something valuable from our message. Public interest increased by the day, and with it came controversy. The final tour of that era, this one of 8 cities, began at that September 18 at New York City's Madison Square Garden with a speech entitled The New Future of Christianity. It was the first really large venue the Unification Church had sought to fill, and the event had an amazing impact. More than 30,000 people packed the garden, while another 20,000 had to be turned away. Without a moment's rest, we held even more rallies that impacted the world. Our confidence to fill large arenas led to greater gratitude to God, our Heavenly Parent, and to our members who were and are devoted to heaven's principle and providence. In the midst of this, in Korea, we displayed the power of the Victory Over Communism movement at a rally of 1.2 million on Yeouido Island in Seoul. This led to a nationwide movement aimed at the reunification of North and South Korea in the 1980s. The VOC teachings spread beyond Japan and Asia. Through the Confederation of Associations for the Unity of the Societies of the Americas, or CAUSA, leaders in the Western Hemisphere, including national leaders in Latin America, and 70,000 members of the clergy attended the CAUSA workshops. The Yankee Stadium Festival on June 1, 1976 was the first half of the God Bless America Festival held to honor the bicentennial year of the United States founding. With its success, we decided not to wait, but to hold a rally in Washington, D.C. at the Washington Monument in September, just 3 months later. Not surprisingly, members of the U.S. government with less than noble motives worked with narrow-minded religious leaders and anti-cult groups that preyed upon members' parents to launch an all-out attack on us. Always on the lookout for a controversy, the media built its audience by articles and news reports disparaging and criticizing us. Arrayed against us at the Yankee Stadium and Washington Monument events were more than 30 opposition groups, including the U.S. Communist Party. Nonetheless, without a trace of fear or the remotest consideration about pulling back, my husband and I set aside our personal safety and dedicated our lives to the future of the United States. We invested all we had to wake up the American churches and people to the reality of God, the truth of the Bible, and the supreme importance of God-centered marriage and family life beyond race, nation, and religion. Declaring this message on the vast expanse of the National Mall was our goal, and nothing could change that. After a good deal of back and forth, 40 days before the rally, the government granted the permit to hold our assembly on the National Mall. Now, the die was cast. I felt as if I were entering a waterless desert with an oasis 40 days away. On the emotional level, that 40 days seemed as if it were more than 40 years. Wherever I went, whatever I did, whoever I was with, I could think only about the rally. I was so absorbed in it that I would confuse breakfast with dinner, dinner with breakfast, and missed lunch altogether. I think that I was not the only one. The rally was neither being held to promote the Unification Church nor to publicize the names of Sun Myung-moon and Nak Jahan. Quite the opposite. We sacrificed so much internally and externally to bring it about. We were informed that there might be a terrorist attack, but we were not afraid of that. Finally, September 18, 1976 arrived, and with it, our rally to mark the bicentennial of the United States took place in the vast grounds surrounding the Washington Monument. My husband and I arose early that morning, prayed deeply, and headed to the National Mall with a heart more serious than that of someone on the way to the gallows, not out of fear for ourselves, but because of the enormous providential significance riding on the outcome. There, more than 300,000 people gathered by midday, peacefully, hopefully, and gratefully. It was indeed a grand and miraculous sight. The American media, the government, and certain religious hierarchies had opposed the Unification Church, but we had surmounted all challenges. The people of America's humble neighbors in Richmond, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Wilmington, Philadelphia, New York, New Haven, Boston, and beyond gathered for God and for America. They were what made the Washington Monument rally a huge success. Our members had mobilized all the buses available on the East Coast, more than 1,000, and had to bite their lips as many hundreds of would-be participants were left behind at the gathering places with no more buses to transport them. It was a testimony to the American people's love of God and country that true parents triggered. We could feel it. God is alive in America. My husband and I had immigrated with our family to this unfamiliar land, and we took on a challenging course. We concluded our first campaign with the success of the three rallies, Madison Square Garden in 1974 and the Yankee Stadium in Washington Monument rallies in 1976. Uttered with sincere devotion, our prayer was the light that ended the darkness. Its light was cast beyond the open-hearted people who attended our events to illuminate all Americans and all people in our global village. Understandably, the American people did not automatically welcome my husband and me warmly when we arrived fresh off the boat from a land in the far distant east. They were unfamiliar with terms they were hearing for the first time, such as divine principle and true parents. There was only one reason that we were able to receive such a broad and deep response within 4 years of our arrival. It was not just that our message made sense. More than that, it was that our message reawakened the religious vision upon which the United States of America was conceived. That is what triggered the significant response. Our prayers and sincere devotion, and our message about the importance of the family, summoning young people to recover their sense of morality and to strive for the perfection of true love in the community. This is what moved the hearts of the American people, for it is the founding vision of that nation. Many young people came to realize that the principle is the truth and joined our family movement. For these brothers and sisters, the principle became the core axis of life. They shared the principle with everyone from fellow youth carrying backpacks on the West Coast to the elite leaders in the universities and the government. They gained the support of people of all races, occupations, ages, and educational backgrounds. My husband and I toured the United States to encourage and inspire not just the public, but our members. We told them to establish schools, create newspapers, get their doctorates, link cultures through programs such as the Little Angels, dance troupes, and rock bands, raise funds going shop to shop and door to door, create home churches, fish businesses and restaurants, and organize volunteer service projects. On every path we trod, the blood, sweat, and tears of our frontline missionaries, domestic and international, continued to flow. I was constantly in prayer. In true parents' words, are true.
True. If you receive it, let us give a hand to our Heavenly Parent and true parents for the amazing word that we received this morning, and to our sister Gab for reading. Thank you so much, Sister Gab, for reading. Now we will proceed to our 10 points of gratitude. To share, let us welcome our one of the HTM coordinator in Antipolo, Mrs. Glorena Fajardo.
Okay. Thank you so much, Yeb. Good morning, Heavenly Parent and true parents. Good morning, respected leaders, elders, blessed families, brothers and sisters. I am truly grateful for this opportunity given to me to share to you my 10 points of gratitude. First and foremost, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to our Heavenly Parent for waking me up this morning and extending my life to experience another beautiful day, for the unconditional love, protection, guidance, and graces that I continuously receive from our Heavenly Parent, for the 54 years of existence in this world, actually going to 55 a few days from now. Truly, my deepest gratitude. Second, to our beloved true parents, for without them, I wouldn't have the chance to be engrafted to the Heavenly Parent's lineage through the blessing that my spouse and I received 25 years ago. Actually, words are not enough to express my gratitude to them. To our beloved true Father, the Lord of the Second Advent, and to our beloved true Mother, the only begotten daughter and substantial Holy Spirit, who is now leading the providence. My eternal gratitude. And third, to our Lord Jesus Christ, who has been my Messiah for the past 27 years of my life before I met the beloved true parents. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for the great love that you have shown to humanity in order to realize God's will. And fourth, my family, my blessed family, to my God given spouse, and of course, to my two precious sons, Nicholas Danre and Nathaniel Andre. They have always been my object of joy, my source of pride and happiness. Number five, my physical parents and my siblings. My parents, for without them, I wouldn't be here speaking to you right now. For the love and support and guidance that they have given to me, especially to my mother, who is now 20 years in the spirit world, and to my five siblings, for without them, I would not have known and experienced what sibling love is. Number six, my spiritual parent and my physical brother, none other than Dr. Julius Malikdem, for leading me to the ultimate truth, the divine principle, and of course, for leading me to our beloved true parents. For all the conditions and sacrifices that He laid in order for me to receive the blessing. Always my eternal gratitude. I would like to express my gratitude to you, our dear Dr. Malikdam. Number seven, my blessed ancestors. These absolute good spirits who have given their love, support, and protection to me and my family all this time. I offer to you my utmost gratitude. Number eight, to the great leaders and elders in the movement who paved the way for us, for all the hard work, sacrifices you have undergone and continuously going through for the sake of God and true parents. Please accept my sincere appreciation. Number nine, for all the things of creation all of God's wonderful creation, especially the plants and animals, which serve as sources for our basic necessities in this physical life, like our food, clothing, and shelter. So thank you. And number 10, the last but not the least, challenges and struggles in my life. For without this, I would not have experienced the suffering heart of our Heavenly Parent. These experiences help me strengthen my faith and artistic connection to God and true parents. So that would be all, brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for listening. Let us always keep in mind that the more thankful we are, the more we attract things to be thankful for. So thank you. Kamsahamnida.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Glo, for sharing your 10 points of appreciation. Let us give a hand to our Mrs. Lorena Fajardo. Thank you so much po. Now for our guidance this morning, let us welcome our beloved national leader, Reverend Leo Angelo Halog.
Thank you very much, our Sister Yeb. Good morning to our Heavenly Parent and true parents. Good morning to all our beloved leaders, La Central families, brothers and sisters. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Annyeonghaseyo, ohayo gozaimasu. So thank you very much to our Ate Glo for that really heartfelt 10 points of appreciation. Thank you for sharing those really touching and inspiring gratitude points for this morning. Today I'll be sharing So today I would like to share with you this topic entitled Nature as Our Teacher. So also Ate Glo mentioned one of her gratitude points, thanking the nature, the plants that provides food to us. Without actually nature, we will not exist. Without the trees, the plants, all the creatures that we are, uh, eating for our existence, then human beings will not exist. So today I would like to share this very interesting topic. Father is talking about the nature as our teacher. So I would like to start this presentation. Father said, nature is a museum prepared by God to teach human beings. Human beings experience interest and curiosity when observing nature. From its creatures, we learn about the nature of love. Observing the insects and animals, we see that they all live in pairs. In this respect, nature is a museum where God prepared exhibits to teach human beings, God's object partners of love, about the ideal of relationships. So while I'm studying this topic about nature, others teaching us about this, also I remember, maybe many of us remember, especially those who are now living in Manila, in the cities, who really grew up in, provinces, in the farmland, in the mountains, in the ocean. So even me, because I grew up also in the province, in Pangasinan, I grew up there. It's a farm area with rivers. So it was very, good to remember, and really we can feel from in our hearts. So Father said, nature is a museum prepared by God to teach human beings, especially about the ideal of relationships. So we can really learn from nature. Father said, observing the insects and animals, we see that they all live in pairs. So that's why there shouldn't be, when only we focus with nature, there shouldn't be like a confusion to people. But of course, many people now, they live in the cities, they were born in the cities, and then they don't have this kind of experience to really experience nature. Of course, they have some time, they go to nature to visit. Some people, they really like adventures, but it's really different when you are living in cities. While for more than other people living in the provinces, in the rural areas, right? It's really really good. We can really see around us how God is really teaching us through nature. That's why when we think about education, it's not just about going to school. That's why young children actually who grew up in rural areas, in the countryside, right? Actually, you can see the difference more than comparing them to the young people who grew up in the cities. There's really big difference. That's why really it's really important now for us, for our Blessed Central families. If we are living in the cities, we really need to take some time, more time, actually going to nature. This is for the education of our children. This is for the education of our children. That's why God gave us the nature. This is like a museum for heavenly parents to teach us naturally. So when we see, the birds, the animals, in the provinces, we are taking care of chicken, we have dogs, we have cats, we have carabao, everything. We have a goat. Then you can see, you will not be, confused that all beings are living in pairs. We can see this very clearly. And then also we can see that, uh, human beings also, no, other creatures also, they mate only on the right time. Also human beings can learn, right? That's why there is always right time. So nature, we can see that, like the dogs, they mate when, not when they are still young, right? You will not see dogs mating when they're still young, when the right time comes, right? So also human beings can learn that, while you are young, you have to keep your purity. That it's not the right time yet. So really amazing the nature that God provided for us. Not only to serve as our food, right? For us to exist, but to really learn from nature. So this is like a museum, our environment. That's why now I am in Antipolo, in our Sonwa, old Sonwa. So here you can still feel nature here. Of course, I'm in our headquarters. I come here. So here is different environment, right? In HQ, you can only see buildings there when you go up. But here, there's nature, very, very beautiful, very wonderful. Actually, the feeling is different. Really amazing. This great blessing that God prepared for us. Even before the birth of human beings, God prepared everything. A Jew, that's why actually human beings can really learn very clearly. That's why our children, our Blessed Central families' children, our second generation, it's really good. So for those who are living in the provinces, in the countryside, sa probinsya, in rural areas, actually you are really lucky. You're really lucky, and then you experience, living with many animals with you. This is really great education for our young generations. Father said, nature is a natural source of our education. All creatures love one another. Animals, insects, plants, and minerals all love one another. They sing, dance, fly, and crawl for their mates. Watch them and learn what they do. Adam and Eve were educated in the Museum of Nature, a living textbook. Adam and Eve watched male and female animals kissing each other. They saw and learned. Nature is a natural source of our education. So really, in nature, you can see that everybody, everything loves each other. All creatures love one another. This is really an amazing, really teaching about love, teaching material about love, right? Of course, some, in nature, some big animals, they eat the small ones, even in the ocean, right? But this is natural order, of survival. But they are not doing this because they hate each other, right? Unlike human beings. Why human beings fight? Because we hate each other, right? But in nature, everything loves one another. All creatures love one another. You know, there are some, you know, vines climbing to the branches of trees. So they are not telling the, you know, the vines, do not climb up on my branch, on my, yeah, on my trunk. So we cannot see this kind of scenarios in nature, right? But they embrace each other. They really cooperate. They help each other. This is natural order. We cannot see this order actually in nature. You know, in the relationship, they are living in accordance to God's original desire since creation. So we can really learn. So even Adam and Eve, right, our first human ancestors, that time no schools, right? Where are they going to learn? So Adam and Eve were educated in the Museum of Nature, Father said, a living textbook. That's why really amazing the nature that God provided for us. This is where we can have natural education. This is natural source of our education. That's why when we want to learn about love, you know, we go to nature. We can really see how each creature love one another, right? From the plants, from the animals, everything in nature. And then, you know, you can see the happiness when they are looking for their partner, right? Some sing, some of the creatures, they dance, they fly, they crawl to find their mates. They have their, you know, different way of communicating. But these are all communications of love. It's really amazing, right? But how about human beings? Yeah. So we are the ones only, you know, because of the fall of our first human ancestors. So we lost this, you know, natural order, and then we became ignorant about love. We don't know anymore what is or how to consummate true love, right? And then how to really have that kind of relationship towards our partner. We lost all these things. That's why really this time we have many second generation, our children. It's really good to bring them to nature. Yeah, sometimes we are too busy with our work, with our mission. Sometimes we don't have time, but actually we really need to give time to our children. We need to give time and bring them to, you know, nature where they can really feel at ease, and then we can really learn. I think this is really important. Even me this time, sometimes I'm very busy, but I realize also need to give time to the children. And then sometimes maybe once a week we can bring them somewhere, you know, have good time together. This is also time of education, not only, you know, letting them later join the Divine Principle Seminar, right? Or having Sunday school. Not only this, but actually when you bring them outside, bring them to nature, that is also part of their education. Natural way of educating them, right? And then they can, that also can touch their emotion. Aju, this is really important. Our true father said, we have to do more than birds for the sake of our children. We can learn by watching the birds loving each other, building their nests to lay their eggs, and feeding their young. We have to do more than birds for the sake of our own children, even hundreds of times more. Male and female insects mate with each other and bear their young. Some even risk their lives to raise them. This is how they teach us. You know, we could see now in our society, many parents, they just leave their children. They are like not concerned, you know. But you know, the birds, other creatures, how much they care for their young, for their children. Some even risk their lives. Can you imagine how much more us human beings we resemble God, right? We are created in the image of God, right? But other creatures, they are just, you know, created symbolizing God, right? In symbol. But human beings, we were created in the image of God. How much human beings should sacrifice to take care of their children, to raise their children, even at the risk of their lives. Other creatures, they reach their children. They reach, they raise their young, even at the risk of their lives. So how much more us, human beings? So Father said, we have to do more than birds for the sake of our own children, even hundreds of times more, right? Our life should be really offered to really, you know, raise up our children, sacrifice more than, you know, all other creatures. So other creatures outside are teaching us how we should live our lives, how parents should live their lives, how parents should sacrifice their lives for the sake of their children. Really amazing, right? Everything was prepared for us, was given to us by Heavenly Parent in order for us to really learn and really fulfill our original purpose as human beings, as creatures that is really resembling God. As heavenly parent, we learn from heavenly parent, right? We learn from divine principle. How much heavenly parent is really sacrificing everything for the sake of their children. The same is true with us. We need to really inherit that from our heavenly parent so that we can really take care of our children. We have to invest everything for our children so that they will grow, they will develop, they can resemble also our heavenly parent later on. We have to really sacrifice our life for this cause, for this purpose. Aju, so we can learn from nature. We can learn from the birds. We can learn from all animals. We can learn from all creatures. Aju, this is really amazing. We cannot just learn from books. We cannot just learn from, all other teaching materials. But substantially, we can learn from nature. We can see them. We are seeing them every day, actually, but most of the time, we neglect them. We disregard these things that we are seeing. But actually, all these things around us, when you look up, over your window, you will going to see things that can, teach you. You can learn. Aju? Aju. So this is very important, very good example. Father said the salmon gave its life for the sake of love. The salmon has a truly amazing lesson for human beings. It loves once and dies. It becomes food to nourish its offspring. What a wonderful example of a creature that gives up its life for the sake of love. So really amazing. We can really learn from salmon. When the salmon are about to spawn, give birth, they go back to the fresh water where they were, where they were also born. They go back there. And then after spawning, after giving birth, actually, they gave all their energies. And then they cannot go back anymore to the ocean. And then actually they die there, and then they became food for their offspring. So once they give birth already, so they are giving their life actually for their offspring, so for the sake of love, giving birth, and then that time also they give their life for the sake of love. This is an amazing example. That's why love is really more important actually than life. Life came from love. Love is the origin. That's why even the life can be given for the sake of love. This is a wonderful example of the salmon, right? So because also they cannot, they gave all their energies, spawning, giving birth. So they don't have energy anymore going back. They became food. They serve as the food for their offspring. So this is an amazing example of, nature, that for the sake of love, we can sacrifice even our life. Aju, this is also what should parents do, right? Like our heavenly parents doing, sacrificing everything for the sake of love. The same is true for us as parents, right? We are all parents. So we can even sacrifice our life for the sake of our children, for the sake of love, loving our children. Father said here, I discovered 80% of the divine principle from nature. This is really amazing. That's why the divine principle, this is not just an ordinary teaching or the same teaching as other religions. Many people are thinking about this, but actually, this is really discovery of Father from nature, 80%. And then this is how human beings should live their lives naturally, right? That's why when our true Father, when he was young, we could read from his autobiography, from all his speeches. Father actually spent so much time in nature, right? Sometimes he even sleep in the mountains. So Father really, he knows, he said, I know all the grasses on the mountains, what can be eaten and what is poisonous. Father really discovered everything. So through this discovery of true Father, he discovered the divine principle, 80% from nature. Can you imagine? That's why, when if you are a nature lover, you always want to go to nature, you can really learn many things. Can you imagine 80% of the divine principle that we are learning and we are teaching to others came from nature? Father learned them from nature. So that's why Father applied them fully in his life. That's why all of us also, once we started to really learn the divine principle, it's not only learning and putting them on our mind, right? But really become part of our body. we practice them. The same is true with nature. Can you imagine if only human beings will going to learn this? Human beings will not going to destroy nature. Human beings will not going to destroy nature, but they will going to live in accordance to how nature lives, how nature survives, how nature, harmoniously exists. Can you imagine if only human beings? That's why the solution to solve also the problems in nature, in our environment, is really for people to learn the divine principle. Only by learning the divine principle, which is, discovered by Father, 80% from nature. If only people learn the divine principle, naturally people will going to abide naturally with the law of nature. And then people can naturally take care of the environment. Aju, this is really amazing. This is really amazing. So Father said, nature teach us the way to grow and prosper. Trees and grass are the best of all nature's teaching materials. The seeds that are sown in spring grow, blossom, and bear fruit, thus paying back the farmer for his labor. Then they die away. Yet the next year, they propagate more branches and bear more fruits for the harvest. Thus, they teach us the way to grow and prosper. Can you imagine? Really amazing. As season changes, Father said, the seeds that are sown in spring grow, blossom, and bear fruit, thus paying back the farmer for his labor. And then winter comes, and then everything dies away. But the next year, spring again came. They propagate more branches and bear more fruits for the harvest. So nature teaches us the way to grow and prosper after season, and the cycle of season, and then when they again leave, and then after the winter season again they come, and then they will going to bear more fruit. They will propagate more branches. This is really the way, the cycle, as nature showing us the process of growing and prospering. The same is true with us. Kaya ngayon buhay din natin consists of 4 seasons. There are, sometimes, winter-like season sa buhay din natin. There are difficulties. But, after you overcome, and then like spring comes in your life, you become more stronger, di ba? The more you overcome this cycle of life. Pag may mga difficulties tayo, once we overcome that, we become stronger. We can overcome more. And then later on, as we go down again in the cycle, there are again another level of difficulties. The same is true, like as an individual, there are difficulties. When you move to the family level, there are higher level of difficulties, right? When you have your children, there are higher level of difficulties. When you have your grandchildren, as we grow and then move to this life cycle, there are difficulties that we need to overcome. But as we overcome, we grow, we develop. This is naturally, we can learn from nature. Aju, this is really amazing. That's why difficulties and trials in our life are normal. These are part of our life cycle, right? What we need to just do is to overcome them. And then we become more stronger. Kaya nga, sometimes we are too frustrated. Why? Lagi na lang ganito, sobrang problema sa buhay ko. Mula noon hanggang ngayon, problema pa rin. These are part of, our growth, our growing period. Right? So that we can be more stronger. We can grow well. We can develop our mind. We can develop our heart. We can move closer to Heavenly Parent. We can move to maturity. We can become mature. Right? We can develop. We can become more closer to our Heavenly Parents. Ideal. Aju, this is really amazing. That's why these trials and difficulties in our life, these are part of our growth. Amazing, right? So we can really learn from nature. Sabi ni Father dito, trees and grass are the best of all nature's teaching materials. So we can see grass everywhere, right? Minsan sa mga bahay natin, minsan may sa gilid-gilid maraming grasses doon kung saan-saan tumutubo. So trees and grasses are the best of all nature's teaching materials. We can learn from them. Right? Kaya minsan hindi masyadong maganda pag nakita mo, and then after 1 season, lalo na sa mga 4-season countries, winter time wala kang makita. And then after when the spring comes, and then yung mga grass na yun, they blossom more. They glow more. Mas naging mas maganda sila. Really amazing. This nature that God prepared for us in order for us to learn about our life. Aju? And then we can also, live well our life while we are existing here on earth. This is really amazing. Father said, our hearts will not fully develop without experiencing nature. In my village, I used to watch flocks of migratory birds come and go with the seasons. People who live in a big city like Seoul may not be familiar with them. Not experiencing the ebb and flow of nature, they lack in the area of emotion. Without the opportunity to experience the mystery and beauty of nature, their heart does not fully develop. When the season turned and beautiful birds flew around, I would spy on them, observing how they laid their eggs and hatched their chicks. It was not unusual for me to spend a week observing a nest. Can you imagine? Father, he spent, a week to just observe a nest. I don't know how many of us, those who are also farmers, sa ating mga blessed families, brothers and sisters who are farmers talaga from when they were young. I don't know if you have experienced this when you were young. No, yung mga nabuhay sa countryside, sa mga probinsya, sa mga bundok-bundok, sa mga farmlands, farm areas, mga nabuhay doon. I don't know if you have some experience like this as father. So si father talaga, he really spent really much of his time, especially when he was young, in nature, really observing. He is very curious, can you imagine? He wants to know everything. I have some experience, getting ng huli ng mga ibon, nagkuha ng mga itlog sa nest nila, but I didn't spend a week. I climbed the mountain, I climbed the mga puno rin, nag-akyat din ako ng puno. Kinukuha ko yung mga nest ng mga ibon, ng magagandang itlog, ganyan. And then inuulam. But I didn't spend a week like father, just observing. Really amazing. Sabi ni Father, without the opportunity to experience the mystery and beauty of nature, their hearts does not fully develop. Our hearts will not fully develop. Kaya nga, if our children just grew up in the city, lumaki na lang sila na buong buhay nila nasa city, really, that's why they lack emotion. Tayo rin, we lack emotion. Kaya importante yan sa buhay natin right? Emotion, intellect, and will. Nauna nga yung emotion right? That's why this time tayo, we are really lucky, mga bata pa, mga couples, mga bata pa na parents. We could learn, really, we were reminded with all these things. So ngayon, we have to really think, how can we help our children really grow fully? They have the emotion, they have the intellect, they have the will. Right? These three things. That's why important how to develop our emotion. Kaya nga, if we lack emotion, kaya minsan, it affects our relationship. Kaya minsan, hindi natin nafe-feel ang tao. Minsan, nakipag-usap lang tayo, even though among our brothers and sisters, but we really don't feel what they feel, right? Because we lack emotion. We couldn't experience this. Kaya nga minsan, it affects how we lead people, how we take care of people. Even though we are learning about love, we are being taught about love from the books, but still, it's not enough if we couldn't really develop our emotion. That's why we need to go to nature. We need to learn. Our young brothers and sisters, our children, they need to go and learn and develop their emotion through nature so that they can really, they can do well later on. They can live well their life. Really amazing, this teaching of True Father, right? That's why kapag lumaki lang talaga tayo sa city, only four corners, nakikita natin mga sasakyan, malalaking building, really, we will have difficulties later on in our life. We will going to have difficulties in our families, our relationship. We have difficulties, becoming one with our spouse, becoming, with one with our children. We're going to have difficulties about this if we cannot develop our emotion. Aju? That's why these things we cannot just learn from the books. We have to engage in nature. We have to climb the mountains. We have to climb the trees. We have to go to the ocean. We have to go to the river. We have to, mingle with the other creatures. We have to mingle with the dogs, with the cats, with the birds, all these things, right? Really amazing. These teachings of fathers. Kaya nga ngayon, although of course we are very, very busy talaga sa buhay, but actually we really need to take time. Not only for our children, even for us. Even for us, right? We have to, really develop fully our emotion because it affects relationship. How to build kingdom of heaven. Yesterday, we had meeting with Reverend Hori. Nagkaroon kami ng meeting with Reverend Hori. Asia Pacific Strategic Meeting, and then he showed us our way to go this 2021. Really, I was really moved and really amazed. Also with Reverend Horace, you know, kasi siya, sabi niya, we are very busy, but we really need to take some time. We need to also to focus with our church growth. Like 30% we need to invest doon. And then, like in a small group, sabi niya, we need to create happy environment where, you know, people will, you know, yung church dapat natin, sabi niya, our movement, hindi na tayo yung Unification Church dati, ngayon, Heavenly Parents, Holy Community na tayo. We have to have that atmosphere of embracing. Kahit anong religion yan sila, saan yan sila galing, we need to always embrace. So in our centers, we need to create warm atmosphere in our centers. Really loving atmosphere. You know, really caring with each other. Kaya sabi niya, with the small groups, we need to, yung mga home group, damihan natin yan, yung home group natin, and then we really develop that very wonderful relationship within our home group, very warm environment. Sabi niya, and then naturally people will come. So kaya nga ngayon, more on, you know, emotion. How can we really feel our places, our centers, our, you know, our entire movement with this kind of, you know, warm environment that we can really feel. We can feel love when people come, even they are new. They can feel, this is different group. This is different environment. This is really filled with love. I want to come here. I want to bring my friends here. So this is the witnessing later on that we have to really focus on. Normal, natural witnessing. That's why it's really important how to open more our hearts, right? To others, to each other. We need to really understand each other. Our emotion should be touched. You know, this is really important. That's why nature will help us. Nature will help us. That's why if we couldn't really develop much, this time we need to find time to spend with nature, right? We really need to find time. Kaya ngayon, we have still, you know, opportunity sa mga maliliit pang ang mga anak, mga young brothers and sisters natin. It's really good. We need to bring them once in a while, once a week, ganito man lang siguro. And then it really helps them grow and develop. Aju, this is really amazing. Teaching of Father. Father said, animals do not care about national sovereignties. Do birds recognize national borders? Do they need a visa when they migrate? Would a hurricane stop in the Gulf of Mexico because it didn't have a visa to enter the United States? Is the weather constrained by American law? It is amazing when you think of it. Ants and lizards can cross the Mexican border as often as they please. But human beings cannot cross the border without a visa. Must American ants and Mexican ants get government authorization to mate? Animals do not care about national sovereignties. But people's lives are complicated with such things. Wow, really, this is amazing. We are working on how to build this kind of world without borders, without visas, without, you know, ngayon ang hirap mag-travel. Tapos na-cancel pa lahat ng mga visa, kahit na may visa ka na dati na multiple entry. Dahil sa COVID, na-cancel yan lahat ngayon. So, dahil sa COVID, naging more strict ang mga borders. Right? So, can you imagine this kind of world we are living in? But how about the birds? How about the ants? So, are they aware, oh, I'm already crossing border. I need to secure visa. Can you imagine even the butterflies? Mother is talking about these butterflies, right? That they travel, you know, before, you know, winter time. Can you imagine? They are not considering these borders. For them, this really environment, this world is just one. There's no border. Even, you know, can you imagine, you know, Father said dito, must American ants and Mexican ants get government authorization to mate? Can they, you know, some nations, you know, they can, their citizen cannot just marry another citizen. But anyway, now already we are really becoming, we are breaking all these borders now, these barriers now. But can you imagine, we can see in nature, they practice, you know, they live in this, you know, world without any boundaries, without any borders. Only human beings are complicated with such things, Father said. That's why, how can we, you know, we are working with True Mother now, really making the world as one, really breaking all the barriers. That's why really what's the best way. True Parents said, really the international, intercultural marriage blessing, really our intercultural, international marriage blessing, this is the best way to break all these barriers. Can you imagine? Our first generation, they match together from different nations, and then later on, their children already for two nationalities, and then mix to another nationality. This is really amazing. One day, this world will really be connected. And then all of us also will really be connected also physically with the lineage of true parents one day. As you know, as nationalities are, mixing together because of this international, intercultural marriage blessing. That's why many of our VIPs, the thing that really amazed them in our movement is this international, intercultural marriage blessing of our true parents. Aju, that's why our young members, right? You need to prepare for the matching. And not only, looking for the same nationality. You have to really, look for other nationalities. This is really amazing. Kaya nga, ngayon, di ba, we can see, meron sa mga hayop pinagpo-crossbreed nila. Sabi nila kapag crossbreed, mas stronger. Kaya nga ngayon din tayo. We are mixing together nationalities. And then the children, kaya masabi ni Father, children of international families, they are geniuses. They are genius. Can you imagine? Mix of nationalities. Kaya nga sa mga hayop nakikita yung crossbreeding. Di ba yung mga pitbull, yung mga pinapalaban nila sa mga manok. Ano ang kinukuha nila? Yung mga may crossbreed. May lahi na iba. Mas malakas daw yun, mas stronger daw yun. That's really true. And then this is really the best way to eliminate all borders and barriers that is dividing humanity. Aju? Aju, so we are working for this so that one day this world will really become one because we are just one family. Aju, really amazing. That's why we can really learn from nature. We can really learn from nature. That's why now with our beloved True Mother on earth with us, together in True Mother's lifetime, let's really build this world, really one world, centering on our Heavenly Parent, on our true parents, eliminating all the barriers, right, that humanity have created that really makes life difficult, makes people suffer, right? If only people, really relate among each other, really help one another, nations help one another, right? Can you imagine the world we can create? We can really build substantial kingdom of heaven. So all the problems now, all the solutions of the problems are given to us. Living together with True Mother, that's why True Mother said, once you unite with me, miracles will take place. All problems can be solved. That's why the key, we need to unite with True Mother. We need to work together as one, brothers and sisters, as one family, right? Let's start to solve small problems in our families, in our community, in our centers, right? Let's really do our best. And then naturally, we will reach national level. Aju? And then naturally, the world will become one, centering with our Heavenly Parent and True Parents. Aju? That's why let's really take time also for our families. Let's go to nature. Let's enjoy nature. Let's climb the mountains. One day you spend one day, in one good place. Let your children experience all the things there. They climb the trees, all these things. See the animals, go to the rivers, go to the oceans. Really amazing. And then they can fully develop their emotions. And then one day, they can really become our great hope. Our true parents' great hope. Aju? Aju. That's why this is really amazing education today by our true parents. Let's really do our best and really fully develop our emotion through nature and really become sons and daughters who can truly bring joy and happiness to our Heavenly Parents and true parents and who can really lead this nation and the world, right? So let's really appreciate our Heavenly Parents and true parents. Let's give a big hand to our beloved true parents. Thank you very much to our beloved true parents. So once again, thank you so much, our beloved brothers and sisters, for your continuous dedication. Let's really continue to work together and really complete the providence in True Mother's lifetime in our nation. Let's really offer this to our Heavenly Parents and true parents. Once again, may Heavenly Parents love and blessings be upon you and your families. Thank you so much. Kamsahamnida.
Yes, thank you so much. Truly, nature teach us to grow and prosper. If you receive it, let us give a hand to our Heavenly Parents and to our beloved national leader, Reverend Leo Angelohalong. Thank you so much, Sir L.A., for that amazing guidance this morning. Now, let us proceed to our reflection sharing. First, to reflect, let us welcome our one of the blessed family in Antipolo, Tito Romeo Liana.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes po, loud and clear po.
Good
Yes.
morning.
Thank you, our beloved national leader, Toya. I'm very
We miss
much
you, Kuya.
welcome. I tried to, while listening to your message, reminds me the Bible verse in Romans 1:20. It says very clear, ever since the creation of this world, namely its eternal power and deity, has been clearly perceived in the things that has been made. So you can really see the nature of God by just simply observing the things around us. So it answers my question that why God created first the creation before Adam and Eve. It's just like saying God created first the teachers before the students. God created first the nature purposely to educate people, including in the creation, actually the angelic world. Their mission is to raise up Adam and Eve. And based on the lecture, we understand how much to Father, very close to nature. And what the Father teaching to us is based from his own experiences. So you are supposed to learn from the things around us. I think that's also the reason why our elders of our church decided to, when I was still in Davao City, we decided to purchase a parcel of land somewhere in Carmen. The nature was so beautiful with the rice field, and over there you can see the horizon. You can see the mountains, and we were there. We stayed in that farm for like almost 3 years, we're doing farming there. We brought students from different parts of Mindanao for education. It was really very successful. In fact, most of our leaders are coming from Mindanao. And I think also the inspiration of Ate Grace, who lead Mindanao, suggesting to Dr. Yong to purchase our property in Mantikau. It's also a very beautiful place, from the town proper. I think it takes you maybe 40 minutes to arrive in that very beautiful place, our training center there. I think the motivation behind, because of this, we need to educate young people to be closer to nature. And I also realized the inspiration of Reverend Mrs. Kim purchased the property in Tanay, our IPLC, driven by the desire to educate people, young people, with this beautiful environment. So the best teachers, actually, the things around us. As our national leader had mentioned in the first part of his message today, talking about the right time for mating. When we look around, we cannot see piglets, puppies, or chicks mating, because there is always a right time for them to do that. There should be a time period required based on the principle. It says formation, growth, and completion, meaning there is a process before a young people will engage into this premarital. This is what they're doing this time. Nowadays, the pre-sex revolution, because they do not know about this. And the perfect educators actually are the things around us. We can learn many things from this. In fact, I also remember my leader before, when I joined the church 1986. It was Busick and Sister Frida. Busick was from America and Frida was from Germany. And our leader shared to us his experiences. Mr. Busick, our leader, actually was a former hippie, like the motorcycles guy in New York. Hippie with a long hair and riding a big bike, and they're doing a lot of crazy things in the city. When he was witnessed by one of our members there, they were pulled out from the city, and were brought to the mountainous area, like far from the civilization. Only a very simple training center with only the birds and the environment we can see. And that was the time he learned the divine principle deeply. When the divine principle started to be presented to them, it talks about principles of creation. And after the seminar, they look around, they can see the beautiful creation. It matches to the lecture they receive. And from that on, he realized how God beautifully created this world. And I really believe that when we will educate our young people nowadays, pull them out from the city where they usually stayed, influenced by this kind of external environment, there's still hope. We can use our IPLC, and then educate them. So the message today made me realize that let's go back to the basic. Let's bring back our young people to the days when God created Adam and Eve. The environment was so pure, and they learn from that. And then finally, the most effective way to bring back that spirit is to really raise up our young people. So it talks about, I was also moved with our national leader's message when he said, like ants, animals, or, the birds, they don't respect borders, they can travel anywhere. And this kind of message we learn from True Father, because True Father by himself saw this, by himself he experienced how much the nature lives, And then, and you also mentioned about like we are divided, where we are separated by borders and we lose respect to each other. And the perfect formula that the Father brought to humanity is the idea of the international marriage blessing. This has something to do with unification of all mankind. And I am so inspired also when our national mentioned that we are a holy community church, meaning we embrace everyone. So with that, I can feel the hope of humanity. No? So this is the things that I want to share, and made me realize how much effort we need to invest so that all mankind can come back to God. So the initiative of our True Mother, even in the height of this pandemic, leads to the unification of North and South Korea, which will be the basis for unification of the world. So when this pandemic came in, we were in Korea at that time. That was February. When we arrived, people were scared, and then I was already worried also. But came to my mind that in every adversity, there is always great opportunity. So I was thinking what opportunity we can, experience in the midst of this pandemic. In what way we can advance the providence. And here comes the rally of hope, mobilizing the world through this media, through this Zoom. And in this way, I realize, I think we can reach out more people than just face-to-face contact with limited resources. No? So anyway, a lot of things we learn from this message today, going back to the basic, learn from nature, and then express true love, living for the sake of others. And finally, we can see a better world. We are so grateful and indebted to our two parents. Because of this divine principle, we learn many things. Of course, we are limited in our capacity to accomplish God's will directly, but in our humble way, we can all work together. So I think that's all I can say. Thank you very much, our national leader, Angelo Halog, for that very touching message, reminding us that the perfect formula to educate our youth, even us as parents, we need to once in a while visit the nature and learn from them. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much, Tito Romy, for your reflection. Let us give a hand to our Tito Romy Nuyana. Thank you so much po. Many from our brothers and sisters miss you so much po. Thank you po for sharing this morning. Now, next to give his reflection, let us welcome our Bishop Philomeno Hosol.
Good morning, brothers and sisters, especially our leaders of Asia Pacific, Reverend Hori, and our Vice Chairman, both Dr. Julius Malikdim, Ronnie, and our national leader, Leo Angelo. and all of our local leaders, brothers and sisters who are joining this Hondoke this morning. I thought I will be sharing my hundreds of appreciations and gratitude, but I'm grateful that I have to make some reflection. I am a farmer and grew up in the farm, and I know how much the creation surrounding me helped me grow and even prepare me to someday, one day, I would meet the Messiah, our true parents, receive the divine principle without resistance. Thank you so much that I have this opportunity to reflect on the message that I have been listening this morning, sharing about uh, Father, what Father said. He learned the divine principle 80% through the creations. And I'm can connect to that because I learned many things. I, in the, I have a big farm in Mindanao, in Agusan del Sur. I spend much of my time, and because I didn't understand that I can get many uh, principles, many clear, you know, teachings through the creations. Now I could connect my heart. Thank you for that, and I know that uh, we have to really find the environment for us to grow, both spiritually, physically. I feel very healthy when I am in my farm, sweating the whole day, and in the night, I just fall asleep because I'm physically tired, and then wake up early in the morning when the birds started to, uh, you know, sounds to wake me up in the morning. Uh, when I meet the movement, I don't have enough chance to, of course, stay in the farm, but I always, from time to time, visit and again continue to uh, see the beauty of God's creations, to connect the divine principle I learned through the creations. And I know that this give me a lot of happiness to see them. I'm so grateful that now we are living in this era after the coming of heaven, especially in this remaining 7 years of True Mother's life course. And this is very important time of God's providence. And I know that True Mother's message of hope in the Rally of Hope is that this pandemic is a result of our abuse of the environment of the creations. So I'm grateful to have received the message that through this rally of hope, we are going to care for our environment, planting billions of trees so that we can thoroughly resolve this global warming and even end this pandemic. And when people are becoming responsible and be educated how to care for the environment. Of course, in advance, I am already planting millions of trees in my farm. I'm already trying to imagine that if we can really plant all those, areas, mountains which are already um, devastated because of minings and, you know, kaingin and loggings, we can really create a very wonderful environment in our country, Philippines. We can resolve both these problems of global warming at the same time we can also prosper, because planting trees can really produce so much also results. I planted trees. I have many durian trees. During harvest time, you can visit there. You can eat all you can. Who among you would like to uh, try to taste durian fruits? I have much durian fruits tree there. I planted many coconut trees, rubber trees, and many palcatas trees. And it's really like forest in my farm. This is like a 40 hectares farm. So I wish someday I could create a training center there, invite people in my areas in region 13, train them, and then raise them. And through the natures, they can fully understand God's words, the divine principle, and through parents' heart. Thank you for the sharing this morning. It's all about the creations is really like our Mother Earth, not only providing us love and environment and blessing, but it teaches us the truth of God's words. Thank you for this opportunity. God bless.
Thank you so much, Bishop Hosel, for sharing. And I think all our brothers and sisters wants to taste the durian from your farm, especially here in HQ. Yes, thank you so much, Tito Hosel. Once again, let us give out our Bishop Philomeno Hosel. Thank you so much po. Yes, another reflection. Let us welcome our regional leader of Region 3 to share, Reverend Koninubo Sugira. We cannot hear you. I think much better not to use your earphones. We cannot hear you, Kuya Koning. We cannot hear anything. Still, please remove your earphone and just use the remove your earphones. Then try to speak now. Yeah, we cannot hear still. We cannot hear, Kuya. Mhm.
Can you hear po?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay, okay. Morning po, Reverend Ere, also all leaders and brothers and sisters. I actually today topic is interesting to me. Actually, we really can learn from nature. Uh, Actually, I went to Korea and then I came back again. Um, Before I go back to Korea, actually, I need to make exit clearance, to enter Korea. And also, in Korea, actually, because of COVID-19, there is a law. Uh, for example, foreigner, if they go out during quarantine time, the Korean immigration have authority to kick out foreigner. Uh, they even though they have permanent visa, if they violate the law during quarantine time, they don't have any execution, and then the foreigner need to go out. Actually, nowadays, because of COVID-19, each nation have the very strong law, and then they don't want to many foreigner to stay
also violate. This is one of my realization. Actually, we have the I would say nature in the Kabatuan Center, and then without knowing, suddenly one chicken came, and then that chicken, actually we try to find who is the owner of the chicken, and then we try to find the owner, but among around neighborhood, but no one know where that chicken came from. And then the chicken actually was very happy in Kabatuan Center because there are many anai and many ants. That's why the chicken never uh, go out. And then there was also one female chicken came. Also, we don't know who is the owner. So I don't know why the chicken came, but the chicken actually always cry before hundoke, and then let me wake up because the chicken is very, I'll say, very healthy, actually, very healthy, very strong. And then even though I want to catch the chicken, but I cannot catch because very quickly run away, and then also fly. If you want to, if I catch almost, and then the chicken fly to the tree. And then I realized I felt God is alive. God sent the chicken to our center, to let us do more seriously hundoke. And I really felt love from God. And then the one I'll say the that we bring one chicken for one female chicken for the male chicken, and then the they lay the chicken lay the eggs, and then my daughter say when Jia saw the egg, Jia say God is true. God is true, she say. So actually we can learn from nature. Actually, that's true. Whenever I have some difficulties during my mission time, actually whenever I see the nature, I really can get energy, and I really can have meditation through nature. So I can remove all my burden through nature. So that's very the good the realization through the nature. Actually, the Kabatua Center actually is like zoo. Actually, there are many animals like rabbit and also dogs. Uh, Also, yeah, so many, even snake. But I actually this environment actually I was very surprised compared with Korea. I never see this kind of center in Korea. But I felt is the really the nature through nature we can learn many things. That's really true. The we can really revive I say our original mind through the nature. That's my yeah reflection. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much, Kuya Kuni, for sharing. Let us give on to our Kuya Kuninobo Sugira. Thank you. Thank you so much to all our elders, leaders we shared this morning. For our final guidance, let us welcome our Regional Vice President of Heavenly Asia Pacific 2, Dr. Julius B. Maliktem.
Good morning, dear brothers and sisters. Thank you very much to our Kuya LA, our national leader, for this very important guidance today. I'm so happy also to listen to the sharing of our brothers and sisters, my elder sister Ate Glo, the pioneers in our movement, Kuya Joshua, Kuya Romy. I'm so happy to listen to your reflection. and our second generation leader, Cookson. Actually, today's topic about nature is actually very important, and I would just like to share some important points. As Father said, nature is a museum prepared by God to teach human beings. Museum. Normally, we go to museum to appreciate history, to appreciate value of the past. But here, Father is talking about museum of learning love. Because as you know, as Father said also that nature is a museum wherein we can understand about the ideal of relationships. Kasi nga, when we look at nature, there's no hatred. Sabi nga ni, yung na-mention kanina ni Kuya L.A., when animals eat other animals, it's not because they hate each other, di ba? Yun ang sabi rin ni Father, especially in his autobiography. It is because they just want to fulfill the purpose of the smaller animals. It's not because of hate that they kill or eat other animals. So that is why when we look at the nature, we can learn ito yung ideal na relationship without the history of the fall. Kaya nga lang, no? Actually, in my experience as a Sunday school teacher before, when I teach our second generation, our blessed children, isa sa mga exciting na story sa kanila is the story of True Father, yung mga encounter niya with nature, like catching eels, yung going up into the tree, looking at magpie birds, observing yung mga insects. Ito yung mga exciting stories, kagaya nung yung catching yung weasel all night and then trying to catch the weasel. These are interesting stories for our children. I remember na pag ito na yung kinikwento sa mga blessed children, it's very exciting for them because they can feel yung nature ni True Father as a child, they can relate to it. And I feel that they want to experience it also as young kids. Kaya when we see our children, sometimes they are deprived of that opportunity to be with nature. Kasi nga ngayon nga most of the time, especially this time of the quarantine. But if we have the opportunity, then let our children grow and experience love naturally with nature. And then, sabi ni True Father, because of the fall of man, all created things had to pass through the course of atonement. Kaya nga, we can see that the creation, they are the ones being offered. They are the ones being offered. Sila yung naging sacrifice on behalf of man because they are not tainted by the fall. Kasi ang nag-fall is only the human beings. But creation, all the other things of creation remain pure. That is why on behalf of man, sila yung tumayo na sacrifice on behalf of us. That is why we feel sorry for them. And so that is why when we see nature, of course we are inspired. When we see sunset, when we see mountains and trees, we are very inspired. We get a lot of energy. We have encouragement and we get power. Pero it must not end with that. Sabi ni Father, when we see nature, we need to have the feeling of parang repentance na dahil sa akin, you have suffered so much. So that's why I remember when Father was saying that when you touch the clump of grass, have you shed tears? No? Touching them, how much they suffered, how much they have been abandoned without owner. So dapat ganun daw ang feeling natin, sabi ni True Father. And then I remember Father was saying that the nature is our third parent. You still remember that? So of course, our heavenly parent is our first parent. And then our true parents and our physical parent, they are our second parent. But our third parent is the nature. Para tayong we are like in the womb of nature. We are growing up in the environment of nature. And we are nurtured by nature. Kaya ang sabi ni Father, we are all, human beings we are like in the womb of the creation. So that's why Father said the nature is our third parent. So why is the nature our third parent? Because God is teaching us how to love naturally. No? Loving naturally. When we give and take with trees. For example, I envy Kuya Joshua, no? Many trees in his mountain. in Mindanao. Wow. Hopefully someday we can go there and eat a lot of durian. Unlimited, only durian. You know, I'm longing for that day to come. Why is this so important? Because, you know, God is teaching us to love naturally. No need of classrooms, no need of teachers who will teach us. Just observing the nature, we can feel God's love naturally. Diba? You can see that. You know, just I remember one time my wife was struggling, and then sabi niya, I want to go to mountain. I want to go to mountain. So I brought him somewhere. Lumayo na kami ng lumayo, and then we went to up to, I think we went until Bulacan na yon. Somewhere sa Del Monte, Bulacan, and then those mountains doon. And then she said she can feel comfort every time she is with nature. Pero siya yung mountain person, ako naman sa dagat. So when I close with the sea, I feel more God's love. So anyway, what is most important about nature? God reveals His heart through the nature. Yan ang sabi ni True Father. No? We can understand more about God's heart through the nature. So that is why even sabi nga ni Father, only a person who can love nature can love God. So parang yun yung entry point natin. If we cannot love nature, there's no point of saying that we can love God. So why do we enjoy nature? Why do we love nature? No? Ito actually, I learned this from True Father's word. Why we love nature? Sometimes we need explanation, right? Somebody you love, for example, your father or your mother, pag may binigay sa'yo, this becomes very precious, right? May sentimental value, ika nga. And then you keep it close to your heart. If someone you love gave you something, isn't it that you treasure it, you value it, you keep it, and love it? So ganun din yun. Nature is given to us by our Heavenly Parent. Nature is given by someone who we love. So that is why naturally, we feel love. Naturally, we feel close to nature. Kasi nga, bigay ito ng ating Heavenly Parents who love us and whom we love. So that is why this topic about nature is actually very important. And you still remember, di ba, yung sa Bible nga na the creation is still longing and awaiting for the revealing of the sons and daughters of God. Actually, that's very true. Even until now. That's why True Mother, kahit sa mga rallies of hope, palaging sinasabi na we are responsible. No, we are responsible. I remember when True Mother learned about the typhoon in the Philippines, she mentioned that in one of the speech when there is a gathering in Korea. And then sabi niya, I thought summer is already over and now winter started. But I heard that 2 days ago, there is a strong typhoon that devastated the Philippines. And then she feels sorry about that. True Mother said, I feel sorry learning about this. And then she started educating us. This is the result of our humanity's problem. No? And then if we don't learn, then this will continue. This will not have an end, True Mother said. So that is why I think as owners of Chonel Group, then we need to really feel deeply, no, yung connection natin sa nature. Let us learn from nature, and at the same time, let us stand as owners of the nature on behalf of our Heavenly Parents and True Parents. So thank you very much. We feel so blessed because of all of this sharing this morning. Thank you very much. Kamsahamnida.
Yes, thank you so much, Sir Julius, for sharing. Let us give a hand to our Vice President, Sir Julius D. Malikden.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Truly, when we love nature, we can also love God. Adju, yes, thank you so much. For our closing prayer, may I call our brother Francis Nolasco.
Hello po. Yes, good morning. Naririnig po ba ako?
Yes, okay,
Okay. So please join me in my prayer, everyone. Our loving Heavenly Parents and our victorious true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind. Loving Heavenly Parents, thank you so much once again for the life that we have, that you given to us, that we could have opportunity to see your creation, the nature that you made for us as a human being to also survive and to get all the things that we need, Heavenly Parents, to in order for us to live in this physical world, Heavenly Parents. Without your love, I think we don't have anything, Heavenly Parents. And for this Hunduke, our national leader gave this kind of guidance through the love of our true parents, Heavenly Parents. We, this kind of guidance was emphasized to us by our national leader to really understand many things about the nature, Heavenly Parents, that can really educate us as a human being, especially us as a member of this movement, unification, Heavenly Parents, that we follow our true parents, Heavenly Parents. We should really take care and we should really be responsible, Heavenly Parents. And this time we are so great because we are reminded again to this kind of bunduke or guidance, Heavenly Parents, that we could really be responsible more. Thank you so much for the love and care, for the blessing of the parents, and for the life of our two parents, and all the leaders and blessed family, second generation, and all the full-time members all over the world, Heavenly Parents, and all the people, Heavenly Parents. Time will come, we will really bring everything to you, Heavenly Parents. Time was very important that we could really cherish and value, Heavenly Parents, that every day of our life we could really be responsible. Thank you so much once again, Heavenly Parents, for all the things that we receive to you day by day. Once again, I humbly report this prayer in my name, Italia and Francis Lawrence Nolasco, as a blessed central couple family. Aju.
Aju. Let us offer our individual prayer. Aju. Let us offer our gratitude to our Heavenly Parent, true parents. 감사합니다. To all our leaders, elders, brothers, and sisters, thank you for joining. Thank you so much to our elders, brothers, and sisters in Region 4A. Thank you to all who shared this morning. Thank you. See you tomorrow.